Few things divide a team more than self-awareness. Self-awareness is so critical to the success of a team. Hey, welcome back to POA Talks. We're so excited you're here. Our goal is to grow 30 minutes together once a month, and we are super excited to be covering our topic today, team building. We're going to talk about three critical things of team building, what we feel is essential as a team member to implement and develop your team and make it better. We want to talk about what is a team. We want to talk about the vision of the team, and we want to talk about empowering the team. So I'm super excited. I'm here, Andrew Cox, as your host with Garen, Stanley, my co-host. Pretty excited about today's subject. We're in an environment where team is essential.
Yeah.
And the health of a team is critical to our organization. If the team's not healthy, it can be very tense at times. There seems to be a lot of burden on the team leader if the team isn't healthy, and you wind up experiencing some levels of frustration that you shouldn't have to. So let's talk about team building.
Yeah,
it's important as building a team. It's kind of important, I would think, to know what a team is. What do you say a team is?
So I think as a team, it really breaks down to something pretty simple. It's a group of individuals working towards a common goal. So you have a group of individuals, isolated people with all different types of personalities, traits, strengths, weaknesses, but they come together to accomplish one singular goal. And that's, for me, that's the definition of what a team is. So what do you think?
Yeah, I like that. For me, the definition of a team, I don't think I can add to what you said, but what I appreciate about a team that is thriving is the unity that you see in a team. When I was still a student pastor here at the Pentecostals of Alexandria, you were part of a team that I had put together that was probably the greatest team I ever saw work together in my tenure as student pastor, and maybe even as a leader. I had assessed and spent a lot of time very meticulous on putting this team together. And when y'all did get together, it was crazy how good y'all were together. I'm sure you know which team I'm talking about. It was amazing. And for a span of probably 2 years, y'all were by far the best team that we had on our Refuge staff. Refuge is our youth ministry here on campus, and by far y'all were the greatest team that we had going. And it was no disrespect to any of the other teams. Right. It's just y'all understood each other. You understood what a team meant, and then to watch y'all come together and unify over a common goal. It was amazing what happened.
Yeah, I think there's something magical that you can see. Like there's just a unique connectivity when you have the right people on the right team, and then the leader is leading them in the direction that they should go. Really, one of the points we want to make today is that there is no team without unity. Because without unity, you're really just a crowd of individuals doing your own thing. Mm-hmm. And though you may call yourself a team, or the leader may say you're a team, if you're on a team like that, I don't have to tell you you're on a team like that. You already know, because you really feel like you're just an individual doing your own thing. And that really doesn't create that sense of connectivity, community. It doesn't make you feel like I'm inspired I'm a part of something bigger than me. So that's one of the things we definitely want to talk about today.
On that, being a team member, what do you think, identifying what the team is? Obviously, you know those members of the team. If you're on a team in your organization, you know who's part of your team. I think one thing that frustrates me the most is being part of a team, and one of those team members or multiple team members have an extreme lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
And you're chuckling, and because we work together in our organization, I feel like we work together at a pretty good understanding and complement each other well. So we could probably name some of those leaders that lack self-awareness.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's something on a team that is more detracting than someone with self-awareness. And that could explode into all kinds of conversation here. So I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to encourage those of you watching and listening, make sure as a team member that you are constantly focusing on self-awareness as an individual. I think if you do that, you will drastically increase your value to the team. And that's what we want to see. We want to grow. We want to get better. We want our value to increase.
Yeah.
You and I are extremely driven to allow our teams that we're part of to grow and to get better. And I think one of the biggest proponents of that is our self-awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, we're both leaders, and those of you watching or listening today, if you're a leader, you definitely will resonate with this. Nothing creates unity, or nothing creates that connectivity in a team like a common goal or a common enemy. That's what really creates this initial sense of we have to accomplish this. And if you're trying to find that sense of purpose, if you're leading a team, you want to try to create an atmosphere to where you're telling them, here's the common goal or even the common enemy. As a church, our common goal that we push towards our staff and our team is we're trying to spread the gospel of Jesus. That motivates all of us. And then if maybe you're in business or you're in the corporate world, to where you have a common enemy. You're trying to eradicate something. You're trying to fix a problem that exists. And as a leader, that's what you want to be pushing to your team. You see this in hurricanes. We had a really bad hurricane season about 2 years ago, and it was all over the news. But you saw when these hurricanes hit, it changed the dynamic of everybody. They didn't care about your social status. They didn't care your race. They didn't care about anything. Everybody came together. We dropped everything we had to do to pursue after one common goal, and that was to help your neighbor. But it seems like the further we get away from that common goal, for instance, after the hurricane was finished, everybody kind of picked up their pace and went right back to doing their own thing. So you can kind of see that play out to where if you can keep that common goal in front of people, it really causes them to unify and come together, and something amazing happens. People get helped. So
I think on that, the tension or the problem to solve is a great fuel.
Absolutely.
For being part of that team and the success of what that team is striving for. If you don't have a tension to solve, I think too many people look at tension or a problem to solve is a negative thing. That's not. That's a great opportunity to grow in extreme measures. So yeah absolutely. So knowing what a team is, you and I feel that vision is extremely critical to the success of the team. So let's talk about vision. The value of it. What happens when there's lack of vision, individually and then collectively as the team. Because our values are super important. So we have to know what our values are. And if we know what our values are, that will create intense action toward our values. So for example, you're leading Refuge specifically, you're leading Refuge student ministry, but you're part of many other teams here on campus. And we see in those teams, I'm leading areas here on campus, and then I'm a team member in other areas. And we see in those teams that lack clear vision, very confused actions. So action speaks to the values of the team. What's important to you as a team member, as a team leader, on the vision of the team?
Yeah, and maybe if you guys are listening, you may want to write this down. This is kind of the direction. There's two big points that I feel like are really important for vision. Number one would be determine honestly what your actions say you value. That goes right back to the beginning of having that self-awareness. You need to be determining, what am I saying versus what am I doing? Because sometimes if the leader is saying one thing, but their actions don't line up with that, your teammates are going to look and say they don't really value it. So we want to determine honestly what your actions say you value. And then, because every organization, including yours and including ours, values something, but not all values are intentional, spoken, written, or even clearly articulated. That is super difficult. You have to be very, make sure you're pointed on that, just because you want to make sure you're articulating clearly, because I may be saying something, but you're hearing something different than what I'm saying. So we want to make sure that we're articulating our values clearly to our teammates. And then the second one is identify the values within you and your key leaders. So what do you passionately love? Like, what are you just all about? And then this is a big one for me. What breaks your heart or makes you righteously angry? For me, what I would say to you, maybe if you're in the corporate world, is what makes you don't care about the budget. Like, I don't care how much it costs. This is something we have to do. This is something we have to accomplish. I'm not worried about everything else. This bothers me to such a degree. I've got to do something about it. And so that's the things we want to really tune into. What is making you super passionate? And what does your teammates see? Wow, they're really into this. Whenever we talk about this, when we bring up this subject, they're all over it. They want to come across the table. Like, what makes you stay up at night? That's the stuff really that we want to dig into. Those are the things that really are your vision. These are the things that are driving you. And if you can articulate that to your team, you can begin to create this sense of synergy around, this is what we're pursuing, this is the route we're going, and this is the part you can play in it.
Okay, let me lean in on you watching and listening right now, and maybe encourage you to pause on that moment and write down, like right now, write down, what am I passionate about? You and I, because we work so closely together, we know. I feel like we know what we're extremely passionate about. And there has been areas of working together where we've had conversations with other team members to where it seemed a little foreign to them why we were so adamant about, for us, we're in a church organization, so we try to be very honorable with our monies. But spending certain amounts of money towards a certain project, we've both been in student ministry, so you have to keep things attractive for students, which involves money. So at times why are you spending money on this? And the answer always comes from that passionate that, dude, I am righteously, as your words, I'm righteously angry about whatever this is. We have to have this. It's unacceptable if we can't do this, which I love in a team, because that tension is created, that problem's there. But you as a team member being super passionate about it pushes that into motion. So as a team member in your organization or in the church you're part of, what are you super passionate about? And how can you not give ground on that and stay connected? Because you're part of an overall purpose. And being part of that and being passionate about that is going to allow that vision to do some crazy good things in your organization, whatever it may be. So wanted to lean in on them real quick on that. And I'll let you get back to what you were saying, but that really stood out to me.
I love the idea of writing down what you're passionate about, because I think if you can't articulate it or define it yourself, you sure can't articulate it or define it to your teammate.
Which is super important.
And so you need to first, as the leader, or if you are on a leadership team, you want to be able to sit down, write that stuff out, and then really think and contemplate, is this really what I value? And what is my action saying that I value? Where's my money being spent? Where's my time being spent? Where's my energy really going to? What's on my mind constantly? because those are all really big clues to what you really value. And if you don't value it, you're not going to be able to give vision on how to get there. So,
and I think your gifts and your passions work together to allow you to be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
So if you can identify, you probably know what your gifting is, but if you let your passion be suppressed, you'll never be the best team member that you can be. But if you put those two hand in hand and are unashamed about those things and don't just, coexist or just, go along for the ride, I think you as a team member, passionate about that vision in yourself and as the team, creates really good opportunity for the team.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one thing that leaps out to me on vision is once you know the vision of that team, growth and comfort can never coexist.
That's very good.
So hopefully as a team member, you're wanting to grow, but comfort is never part of growth. I mean, use for example, so I have an 8-year-old, Emma Claire. She's amazing, but she's in the growth stage of her life right now where she's growing. Just as an 8-year-old, her body is changing quickly. And so this morning she's part of, I think with your daughter as well, they're part of a camp where they're doing things that for us wouldn't be intense, but exercise, some different things. And Emma Claire is exhausted right now. And so when I was dropping her off today, she was walking extremely slow and I walk extremely fast. And I asked her, I said, why are you walking so slow? And she said, well, I'm growing and it hurts. And it dawned on me, growth and comfort never coexist. So as a team member, there's probably going to be pain or discomfort as you're growing together. And I think we look at that as a threat sometimes, but pain in the growth is not a threat.
Right.
Pain in the growth is showing this is who we're becoming as a team. And I think often, and I think your team realized, because even though y'all were amazing as a team, the story I referenced earlier, there was some tension there that had to be navigated. It was a team full of really good leaders who had really good ideas, but y'all had to work through that pain of your good idea, their good idea, their good idea. How do we adjust? And I think y'all grew at an extremely fast pace because you didn't allow the miscomfort or the discomfort to jeopardize your overall vision as the team.
Yeah, I think though with that team that you're specifically referencing, I think because we saw a common problem, we all realized what the problem was, that it caused us to leave our differences aside and rally towards trying to achieve the goal. We realized what we were really trying to accomplish. And once we did that, we ran for it. And when we started achieving or accomplishing the goals that we had set, it caused us to celebrate, like, we're doing it. Like, this is actually happening. This is amazing. And so that is definitely a huge part of it. We kind of move on to the next point if you want.
Yeah.
The other thing you referenced was empower. Whenever you say empower, what are you meaning by that?
So for me as a team member and a team leader, I tend to stress, and I think this is critical as a team member or a team leader, I don't stress over the strategy, which can be extremely frustrating to some people because they want a clear strategy, which is good and needed. And you have to have a clear strategy. So I'm not minimizing the value of a strategy, but I stress over empowering the people on that team. I think when you give somebody the permission, if you want to say it that way, or if you give them the trust as your team member, I think that creates probably undefinable possibility. Mm-hmm. So stress, this is what I would encourage people to do as a team member, is to stress over empowering your team members versus stress over the strategy of accomplishing the goal. Now, the strategy has to be there. We have to talk about that as a team, but stress over empowering that. So, for example, if we're working toward a common value, we've identified our vision. So we have the action speaks to the values, and we've identified the common values. But then if I lean in on you, or vice versa, you lean in on me with empowering me or believing in me to accomplish my role as that team member. So initially, you give me trust and you allow me to misearn that trust versus you come into an environment where I have to earn your trust. That's an immediate tension or an immediate restriction on me as a team member. But if you come in stressing over empowering me as a team member, then I have a lot of liberty in my personality to be the best version of myself that I can be on that team. So it's, for me, empowerment is so critical to the team member in that we give trust initially and then allow that trust to be violated or misearned, however you want to say it. So when I'm on a team, for example, I'm going to give you the liberty, the freedom to step up and be the best version of yourself. And because there are parts of you, and I'm not speaking to you, I'm as the team member, that you can do way better than I can do. And likewise, there's probably parts of me that are my giftings and passions that will fuel me in a manner that allows you to be empowered. So in a sense, it's me giving you the trust. I think to answer your question in short, that was a long way to answer it. But in short is I initially want to give you trust versus you. I want to give you the trust and allow you to abuse that or misearn it versus you coming in and you giving me, and I'll wait on you to trust you through the actions that you create. I'm kind of not explaining what I'm saying. So
I love that, though.
I'm sorry about that.
I love the idea, though, that whenever you initiate the relationship or you're in the conversation, it's much more welcoming that you already trust me and I don't have to break down the barrier to get into having the relationship or the conversation with you. What I like to tell whenever I'm in the conversation of leadership and this conversation, I like to tell people to try to delegate authority, not to delegate a task.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
If you delegate the task, then you create a follower. Mm-hmm. But if you delegate authority, you create a leader.
Yep.
And they're able to accomplish so much more. And they run into the fire believing, this is me, I can do this. For empowerment, the one thing that I would like for everybody to try to remember is teams involve more people. So when you say empowerment, what you're really doing is involving more people. If you remember what the definition of a team is, it's a bunch of individuals. It's a group of people with different ideas, different places, different backgrounds, different history, but they're coming together for a common goal. And you're not really a team by yourself. It takes other people. So if you want a growing team, you have to remember that teams involve more people. And so, which is a good thing in leadership and growth, especially in church or business organizations. There's a lot of times we're looking for more people. We need more people. We need more to get done. And so that really, we need more people to be able to do that. And creating a good team and having good building of your team involves more people. With more people, you get more ideas, you get better innovation and energy. There's one thing, we just recruited a young lady yesterday onto our youth staff, and having the conversation with her, she brought so much energy into the room because she saw things that our existing team has become blind spots to them. And so whenever the new person comes on the team, they see everything in a whole new light because it's a brand new place. So whenever we can have a new person, it brings this energy because now all of a sudden it's all new to them. And so it brings a lot of excitement. So we love that. And then when one team member is struggling to move forward, other team members now can step in and help. And you don't want to be struggling alone. So it's such an amazing part of being on a team. So
yeah, so I think on your example there, if I have an idea, that's one idea. If you have an idea, that's one idea. And individually, that's just one idea. But if we put your idea with my idea with your idea, then we have two ideas working together towards the same goal. You start building that team instead of, let's add 8 people to that equation. Now we have 8 ideas versus just one individual idea, which is how we work. Man, that's a major opportunity in our world. That's always trying to figure out the next, step to create that energy in our organization.
Yeah.
We're probably out of time. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Y'all are important to us. If you've enjoyed it, please like, please share, please subscribe to our podcast, POA Talks. But I do want to present some questions for you, some action items, kind of take you by the hand and lead you back through what we've just talked about. Is number one is, how healthy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy is your team? I think that's super important to identify as a team member. How healthy is your team? Second thing is, how can you help your team get better? So some suggestions there, just off of the 3 critical points that we've talked about on a team, is increase your self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's one thing you can do immediately. These are action steps that you can implement immediately on being a better team member and helping your team get better. Second thing is, be innovative. So as part of that vision, be innovative. I love team members that are constantly throwing ideas out there, that are constantly bringing, you just mentioned it with new possibility. That lady saw new possibility. Being innovative is one of the greatest things you can do as a team member. And then last is, give trust initially. Don't make them earn the trust. Give it initially. Let them mis-earn the trust. So, those are 2 important things that we want you to take away from this podcast. Questions to ask yourself: how healthy is your team, and how can you make your team better?
Yep. So here's a truth in closing. Teams can simply do more than an individual. If you want to reach your potential and strive for seemingly impossible things, you need to become a team member and a team player. It may be cliche, but it's nonetheless very true. Individuals play the game, but teams win championships. Thank you so much for watching today. And please, if you don't mind, take a few minutes, like, share, subscribe, comment. This really helps get the word out, and we would utmostly appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you next Thursday.
Go team! Yeah.